This is Richard Rodriguez with ClearSync Solutions, and I'm sitting today with Jason Kerr, Client Development Manager from Granite Telecommunications. Jason, how are you?
Doing great today. Thanks for having me on, Richard.
Awesome. Hey, real quick, Jason, if you can give us a quick history on Granite, who they are, what you serve.
Absolutely. Well, working for Granite Telecommunications, we just had our 23rd year anniversary just the other day. We started out as a telecom aggregation company for analog lines. But as time moved on, we've evolved into much, much more than that. We handle everything from voice services, traditional analog as we started out with, moved into voice services, SIP, hosted voice. But, listening to our clients and, hearing what their needs were, the company really developed based upon our clients' needs. So we branched out nationwide into aggregation of internet access. That comes in the form of broadband, DIA, fixed wireless. We also handle managed services. So we'll be able to manage, monitor, and take care of full stack SD-WAN systems. And most recently, our fastest growing part of our company would be our mobility sector. If it's going to go wireless, it will go wireless. So our ability to help aggregate mobility services has really been driving a lot of business these days.
So let's talk about for clients. Let's talk at the beginning about circuits aggregation, kind of the backbone of what Granite is. How do you help customers when it comes to that part of the business?
Yeah, absolutely. Aggregation is a really powerful tool, especially when you're working with multi-location businesses that are dispersed across the country. Granite can handle everything from the United States all the way up through Canada. So we have wholesale agreements with over 150 different underlying carriers. What we like to pride ourselves on is geographic perfection. So no matter if you're in a major NFL city or you're out in what I like to call no man's land, we're going to be able to find you a good source of access for your business to function from.
So that's really, looking at a lot of what our customer segment is with energy, oil, and gas. There are a lot of locations that we've worked with together that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So Granite specializes in doing those kinds of things.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in that vertical, there might even be situations where we're utilizing multiple forms of connectivity for those sites. We can do everything from a fixed wireless solution because there's probably not broadband or dedicated fiber. One of the fun things I always like to hear from my clients in that area is, if you're going to go looking for oil, you just got to figure out where your cell phone signal ends, and that's where it is. So we might actually find cellular solutions that can reach you, and then also branch into satellite or even Starlink solutions to help get the connectivity that your land needs to work off of.
Speaking of Starlink, that's kind of that's perfect pivot to what we're talking about, especially with a lot of our clients. You guys recently got into Starlink, and talk about the difference in if somebody just went in and purchased Starlink on their own and wanted to manage it on their own, especially if they're multi-site locations, as opposed to if they went to you for Starlink services.
Sure. That's a great question. There are a few ways to procure Starlink as a service. And what I love about Granite is, we're an independently owned company, privately held, so we can make decisions without a lot of red tape to be cut through. One of those decisions is that when you're working with other vendors that can supply the Starlink equipment and the service, you might notice that there's a lag time if you have a need for emergency equipment. If you have a site that you're building out and you need connectivity right away, there could be 2 to 3 week wait time before you're going to be able to get the dish that you're going to need or the equipment you're going to need to run that connectivity. Granite really stepped up to the plate. We actually will be able to warehouse this equipment so that our customers have quicker access to the equipment to get their sites up and running. Another great advantage that we bring to the table as well is you can actually turn a CapEx into an OpEx when you're working with Granite. We have the ability to amortize those costs for the hardware. We also have the ability to manage and monitor those Starlink systems. And when I say manage and monitor those systems, we're actually going to be able to monitor the throughput of those. And, if anything does take place where connectivity is cut or you're not getting the service that you need, you can actually call into Granite and talk to a live human being. You're not going to be stuck dealing with a chatbot and then getting frustrated, but you'll be able to get on the phone with one of the Granite representatives that's going to be assigned to your client, and they'll be on the phone with them in a matter of 8 seconds. A lot of my clients today actually are on a text message relationship, first name basis, and that's a real differentiator in this line of work. People want immediate answers, and they want to be able to talk to somebody and fully understand what the cause or the root of their issue is, and then also they want it to be remedied quickly.
So talking about Starlink, yeah, it's great, especially for our customers that are out in the middle of nowhere locations. But cost can be prohibitive at times. A lot of our customers have many IoT devices that they're working with on these pad sites. Multi-SIM is something that you guys specialize in, that you brought to the market, and that's another way that they can get the connectivity that they need. Correct?
Sure. A lot of times when we are working with remote sites or sites that are maybe not in a major metropolis area, we're going to run into a situation where we need to find the best connectivity. Whether that's going to be Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. One of the strenuous parts of your IT manager's job is procuring that connectivity. Is it going to work for them? What type of environment they're in? Are they in a big metal building? Are they out in the middle of nowhere? What's stopping that signal from getting to them? One of the cures that we found for that was we have the ability to put all of the major carriers on one Granite SIM card. So your client will actually get Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile on the same SIM card. And with a click of a button, they can pivot between those carriers based upon the throughput and what they're getting for a quality of service. What that means to your client is there's no longer a guessing game involved. It doesn't matter. They could take that whole beginning process of setting up a location and be comfortable with putting our SIM in it, knowing that they're going to be able to get that to work. Also with this SIM too, in addition to the United States, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, there's about 500 other global carriers on this SIM card. So as these businesses do span outside of the United States, they could still be together on one plan with Granite and get the full connectivity that they would need at each site without having to go through the arduous task of deciding who is our carrier and are they truly the best for this location.
That's really powerful for a lot of our clients to be able to have that global reach. There aren't many out there that do that, correct?
That's true. I mean, you might find a couple out there. Another differentiator for us, especially here in the United States, is the contracts that we have for Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. Those are our direct Granite contracts. What we find out there through some of our customers speaking with us is that a lot of these multi-carrier SIMs, they'll force them through what they like to call a pecking order. And typically that pecking order is the multi-carrier SIM provider will put you with the cheapest service first, then to the second cheapest to the most expensive, because you're paying one price for that service, but they're going to want to make sure that you are maximizing their margins. For us, that's not going to matter. We're going to give you the best service for that geographic region right off the bat and make sure that your customer is fully complete with online services and that they have the bandwidth that they need.
And so, when we're talking about connectivity, we started talking about, traditional circuits, everything that you can do that way for aggregation, moved into multi-SIM and Starlink. But all of these devices at the end of the day still need to be monitored, managed, which you guys provide. Can you talk about how you guys do that?
Absolutely. One thing that I love about Granite is that, when we hear problems coming to us from the field or coming to us from our clients, we listen to them and we try to figure out what's the best path for making their lives easier. And one of the things that we have at Granite is we do own and operate our own NOC. And what we did is we actually did the math. We took a sample size of trouble tickets that come into our NOC in 1 quarter. So we took a sample size of 250,000 trouble tickets, and doing some metrics and some analysis, what we realized was about 62% of those tickets, the resolution to those issues was as simple as a reboot. So if you go to any IT manager or you talk to anyone on the staff, what's the first thing any carrier is going to ask you to do before they send out a dispatch to fix their service? That question is going to be, did you unplug the router? Did you plug it back in? And what this device does is it actually has the ability to do that. The device has artificial intelligence built inside of it. It's going to measure certain metrics such as latency, packet loss, and jitter. And if it doesn't hit those predetermined thresholds of tolerance for your client, the device is going to take action on its own. So no human intervention whatsoever. No IT guy has to jump on a phone with their carrier and say, hey, my internet's down, what's the problem? And then go through that level 1 troubleshooting. The level 1 troubleshooting is completed by this device. You could plug in your routers, switches, your advanced data devices such as SD-WAN appliances. Any device that you have inside the DMARC where you would have in the same telco closet, we could plug into what's called our edge boot device. And the edge boot device is pretty resilient, because when we went to the marketplace, one of the big differentiators is that this is basically at its core a smart PDU. But we built in AI intelligence into it, and we gave it the ability to cut there. Let's go back to that. What was the ability I was going with? AI intelligence. I can start back. Where do you want me to start from?
Wherever you're comfortable.
So the edge boot device, our customers were telling us that they needed a way in order to have a reboot done at site. And they called us and they said, is there a way to do this? So what we did is we looked around at many of the smart PDU companies out there, and none of them really fit the bill 100%. One of the main drawbacks to the competition was, if your internet circuit was hard down, there's no way to get to that device to tell it to reboot. So what we did was we built this device. Inside of it, we included a multi-carrier LTE SIM card so that we can actually have out-of-band connectivity with the device. So what does that mean to your client? That means that if for some reason you lose power or the internet service is down, you have the ability to remote into that device and reboot the equipment if needed. As well as on top of that, for an added value, you have console cables that you can plug into your hardware on site, and you can remote into your devices to perform any function that you'll need to. So you'll have full visibility into your network. You'll be able to make adjustments in your network, and this is all through the edge boot device. And the great thing about it is if you do lose power to your building, this device will have a dying gas battery in it, so that if you notice that a site is down, it'll actually notify you and say, hey, we're losing power. We're not going to be able to do anything here. So that's going to save the IT staff a lot of time in trying to figure out what's going on here, because you'll know right off the bat with an alert that we have no power. Instead of sending somebody out for a dispatch to go out and figure out what's going on, the device will use its intelligence on board to notify you via email or SMS text messages.
So a device like Edge Boot, that's a different kind of ROI for people, because it's not, directly comparing a T-Mobile bill of what they're paying now to what they would be going to Granite. So in that ROI, when people are talking to you about Edge Boot and how that savings comes in, how do you guys quantify that?
That's a great question. I mean, there's a number of ways that we qualify this, in a number of ways that our clients find value in it. I guess the first thing you just start out with is what does your staff look like? What does your IT staff look like? Are they spending 20% of their day opening trouble tickets, staying on hold with carriers to perform level 1 troubleshootings and reboots? What we find is larger companies, that is a big portion of their IT staff's job, is to wait on hold and to tell them, yes, I unplugged the router, and now I need you to send a truck out here to fix this circuit. Ultimately, the device we have will take care of that for the business without any human interaction. So staffing is a huge amount of money that can be saved. Then if you think about the remote sites, like in the oil and gas industry, there are so many remote sites that are unmanned. You're operating, IoT devices out there. You need connectivity to report back any metrics from, drilling stations or what may be, at function at that site. And if there's no one out there, there's no one to perform the troubleshooting. So what we found is, the average dispatch to a location for someone to go out and do a level 1 troubleshoot and to reboot a router is you're getting anywhere between $300 to $500 a dispatch. And these are typically not costs that are calculated in when somebody's making a telecom decision. But when you realize how much time and money is spent on simple tasks that can be automated and not have to send out somebody else to pay a dispatch fee or spend windshield time, when your staff has better things to do, what are the tasks that, you need your IT staff to tackle? It's probably not sitting on hold. So freeing up your staff's time, being that staff that you may or may not have. And then at the end of the day, you're only making money as a business owner if your business is up and running. So it's going to reduce that, time where you're down and not functioning at what your core business should be functioning at. So there's a lot of ways to look at this, but every way you look at it, the edge boot does solve for many problems, and it can get your business up and running in as little as 5 minutes, where your average triage time could be anywhere between 24 to 72 hours for a simple fix.
So, Jason, tell us another one of the use cases that you're seeing for oil and gas when it comes to multi-SIM.
Multi-SIM cards has been huge in the oil and gas industry, especially when it comes to, drilling sites. As you know, not a lot of these drilling sites are, very easily accessible. They may not have the best connectivity. And the multi-SIM card, it really enables, the employees of these sites, because not only are we looking to make sure that these sites have connectivity for business function, your employees at say for instance, a man camp, they're living there. They're going to want to be playing Xbox. They're going to want to stream Netflix. They're going to want to do anything that you would normally do home when you have a broadband or a dedicated fiber circuit. They're going to want to be doing that in their off hours. By having a multi-carrier SIM, we're able to provide the bandwidth to these sites. They can really help these people have a better quality of life and a work-life balance. So that's probably one of the more forgiving or, things that I'm proud of with, what we bring to the table. It's not just making sure your laptop can surf the internet and push data out there. It's really improving the quality of people's lives.
And then, is there any kind of cool use cases that you've seen for Edge Boot that have come around since that's the newest product?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that. But there's when you're in our shoes, and we have as many customers as we have at Granite, and as you know, we built our business off of listening to our customers. It's funny. A lot of things came to light that we never expected when we developed the Edge Boot. One fun story here is, we were working with somebody in the food service industry. We'll call them a pizza shop. And as you know, they all have, walk-in freezers. And one of the problems they had, and they wanted to monitor, was the temperature of their walk-in freezers. You would think that would be a simple task, but there's really no device out there for that. So when we built the Edge Boot device, we actually put in like a universal input on the back of it. So we can actually hook into these walk-in freezers, and it'll alert us, and it will actually send out a message to the branch managers of these sites that, hey, first message is going to go out, check your walk-in door. Make sure it's closed because employees leave them open. The next thing it's going to say is, did you close the door? If the answer is yes, it's going to say, you're going to have to open up a trouble ticket with, your service now. Get a refrigerator repairman out there, because we're not in the refrigerator business. We don't fix them. But the important part was, because if these refrigerators went down and the food spoiled, they're out thousands of dollars on a monthly basis just because somebody left a walk-in door open. So that's kind of a fun use case for the product that we never saw coming. And outside of that, there was another use case that came to us. I mean, we've all been in the airports. You walk around and you see all the monitors around to tell you when your flight's leaving, when you're delayed, and then there's advertisements where to eat. Now, there's a company that owns those boards, and they do their advertising on it. And one of the things was they actually hired elderly people or older people that were retired to walk airports, to look at these screens and say, hey, this screen's on, or this screen's off, to report back that somebody needs to go out and repair those screens. With the Edge Boot device, they actually have the ability to monitor the throughput of the electric flow. So if we have a television plugged in Terminal A of such and such an airport, and we're noticing that there's not a power draw there, we automatically know that there needs to be service on that monitor and that screen in that terminal of the airport. So, it's fun use cases like that we stumbled across by listening to our clients that we never even would have dreamed of unless our clients came to us and said, hey, we have this problem, can we solve for it? So the Edge Boot does way more than circuits, way more than connectivity monitoring. We have the ability to get creative with it and solve for other problems that your business might be experiencing.
Awesome. So really, really the message there is, no matter what your problem is, bring it to us, and it could end up being a solution that was never even thought of.
Absolutely. Most fun part of my day is sitting with my solutions architects and my engineers and listening to, what's going on within a business, and then seeing that light bulb go off and them say, hey, well, we could do it this way. So Granite can be very creative, and, we're not a one-track type company. We're here to help. We're here to listen, and, we're going to get creative with things for you.
So, Jason, how can people find out more information about Granite, any of the services you're offering, anything in particular?
Well, Richard, that's a great question. And what I really hope is that they call you. and then you can introduce them to me, and I'd be more than happy to walk through their current state, what pains they might be experiencing, or if they have future plans, what their growth plans are. And, we could take a step back and take a look at their infrastructure holistically, figure out what their goals are, what they're going through today, and we could bring on all the engineers and resources that we have at Granite to help build that infrastructure and build a path to progress for them.
And the website is?
Website would be www.granitenet.com.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, Jason.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.